Hey, and we're live now on the air. Dalton, can you hear me? All right on. So I guess this is going to be a test run, and then we'll go offline, and then we'll come back online just to see if this thing's working. Yeah. So as a matter of fact, I'm going to just use my phone to test this thing. I'm just going to see if I can hear us, if I can hear you, because I'm not sure because I may be the only one on this call, but it says that you're also on the call on here. So I don't know. Let's find out. I mean, I'm supposed to be live now, so we're gonna find out. I'm supposed to be live. Where am I? Hey, Dalton, go to my YouTube channel and see if you can see if I'm live. It's going to be youtube.com/RED, like the color red, 7 ENT. That's going to be ENT, like entertainment, like Red 7 Entertainment. All right, so am I live? All right, cool. So now I guess the question is, can you hear you on the computer? Can you hear yourself? Seems like it. But the question is, are you on the call with us? Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's strange. Let's see, cameraman. Oh crap! What have I done? Hmm. Okay, this might not be. Hold on. Dalton, are you there? Yeah. Okay. Okay. You heard yourself on the computer. On the phone. Okay. We don't work the kinks out. This is frustrating. We got to figure this thing out. All right. I can't tell. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how it works. I'm presenting to everyone somehow. Okay, so I think that you're online. You're live on air with us, Dalton. I think. So let's just talk. Let's just and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and who cares, right? Okay, mute your computer. So mute your computer. And we'll take this from the top. Cool. Okay. Is it muted? All right. So we were talking. You went to go see Captain America: Civil War, right? Yeah. Okay, and I saw it last week or the week before or something like that. So I've been dying to talk to you about it. Exactly. Um, so what was your okay? What was the standout moment in that movie? Oh, for our viewers, full spoilers ahead. So what was your standout moment? Okay. I liked that scene as well. I thought that Black Panther was really cool in that scene. I didn't understand why Spider-Man needed to be there. Yeah, maybe. He did, but he didn't seem super necessary. Like I feel like they put him in the movie because he was only in that one scene. He wasn't integral to the plot at all. And I kind of feel like he was just there so that Marvel could say, "Hey guys, guess what? We have Spider-Man again." Yeah, it didn't serve. It didn't really serve a purpose. It definitely felt shoehorned in. It felt about as it felt about as natural as the email scene in Batman v Superman. Mhm. Well, Dalton, it's because everybody knows how to use email now, and they want to make it very clear that these characters are not outdated. These characters are using all the technology. Unlike Spider-Man, who has historically used Bing. Me, in the Mark Webb Spider-Man series, the Amazing Spider-Man movies, uh, he was binging it up, but not these guys. These guys XOS. Back to Captain America. Spider-Man did not belong. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, he looked really artificial, and if it was really him, then it was a really bizarre thing. A lot of it looked like CGI. The I don't know. I had a very hard time taking that movie seriously. It didn't feel like there were any actual like stakes. Yeah, yeah, and that like I didn't feel like anyone was in any danger. I guess I didn't feel like I never felt like they were actually out to kill each other. The only thing in my mind watching that movie was, okay, so Black Panther wants to kill Bucky and Tony Stark wants to beat him up, but nobody else really wants. What's that? Yeah, at that point, yes, but up until that point, no. So my problem with the movie is that nothing felt real. It all felt like that. I think I mentioned this to you before. Before we had either of us had seen the movie, that they shouldn't have named it Captain America: Civil War. They should name it Captain America: Airport Scuffle, because they're just quipping back and forth. If you remember, whenever Hawkeye and Black Widow are fighting, and she says at one point, "Hey, we're still friends, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, it depends on how hard you hit me." It's like you don't say that in the middle of a fight. Yeah, it was kind of like they wanted to make them into uh, like cops. Basically, they want to make them into police rather than vigilantes. Right. So why doesn't someone approach? Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. Shield's basically no more. I don't watch. Okay, so I don't watch Agents of Shield. I'm not sure what's going on with that show because it's kind of crap. I don't like it. Uh, it's super boring. I don't know. Uh, but with the movies anyway, Hydra infiltrated and basically destroyed Shield, right? In the Winter Soldier, and so it's understandable why Captain America is leery of the government. If like this government agency, Shield, which was regulated. I mean, the Avengers were a part of Shield. They were already regulated. They were already registered with Shield, right? I mean, they got uniforms and equipment and all that from Shield, which was a government agency. So I don't really understand the issue here. I mean, Captain America doesn't want to come on board with the government, and I kind of see it because the government or Shield itself was infiltrated by Hydra. But I mean, he's been affiliated with the United States government since day one. Like he was in the military. Like it doesn't make a whole lot of sense from that perspective. If you think about the other movies, why wouldn't he want to be responsible for his actions? Like he's partly responsible for things like Sokovia and New York. When when the first Avengers movie happened and when the second Avengers movie happened, and so like you would think that he would want some kind of accountability for when the next army of faceless bad guys comes along and they have to turn the switch off and blow them up. Are you eating? Are you eating? Yeah, me too. I've been eating these little they're like Reese's peanut butter cups, but they're made from almond butter, and Jacqueline homemade them. Yeah, they're pretty good. Oh, okay, cool. Not a sponsor. Um, so, mhm, right. Innocent people have died. Yeah, yeah, and that's something that we were just talking about a couple days ago when we discussed superhero movies in general, especially origin stories. It seems like, and really especially Marvel, the the good guys always seem to be fighting the bad guy version of themselves. Maybe with some minor tweaks here and there, but like, let's see if we can name them. We got Iron Man, and the first Iron Man movie, he fought Obadiah Stane, right? And he was basically exactly the same. Right? They were the same. I mean, he freaking yeah. Ironmonger had a bigger version of the first Iron Man suit, right? Slightly bigger. It was like the Mark One, and then what? Who came next? Was it the Incredible Hulk? He came along. He fighting Abomination, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's scaly Hulk, right? And then what was it? Thor fought the Destroyer armor or something. So he fought Asgardian technology. And that movie I didn't like so much. It's like, okay, I don't want to see a superhero movie where half the movie he doesn't even have his powers or motivation or like that movie. It wasn't for me. There's a lot of potential, but it didn't. It wasn't. First of all, the special effects do not hold up. Have you watched it recently?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, dude. If you go back and watch the first Thor movie, the special effects look like PlayStation 2 graphics. Really, really lousy. Okay, so and then he ended up fighting Loki, who was like a weaker version of himself, kind of throw him off the bridge or something. What?
He took over Iron Man 2.
Yeah, but that's not an origin story.
Oh, I thought we were talking about villains who are the.
Oh, yeah, even Iron Man 2 falls into that category. Um, it was he was fighting Whiplash, right? Yeah, and Whiplash was just a guy in an Iron Man suit with whips, which like for some reason he's like, I'm gonna wear the Iron Man suit and like take away all of the things about the Iron Man suit that are helpful, and I'm gonna use whips instead of guns because that's a step forward. And then you've got an army of drones, right? Which happened in freaking Iron Man 3. Iron Man copied was it Justin Hammer? Is that his name? He copied him, man. Iron Man 3 had an army of Iron Men, just like Iron Man 2. It's the same thing. This just happened again, but we're not at Iron Man 3 yet. We're at Captain America, the first Avenger, right?
Mhm.
And he fought Red Skull.
Which was the day of Captain America.
Yeah, German. I mean, he's Captain Germany, basically. German Nazi super soldier with a messed up face. I'd be mad too, man. If somebody did that to me, if I looked like Agent Smith, right, and then they gave me steroids and I ended up looking like Skeletor with a sunburn, I'd probably be pretty mad too. What came next? I guess the next movie was the first Avengers movie, right?
Uh-huh.
They fought an army of faceless drones that got Phantom Menaced at the end.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? They just blow them up. Tony Stark throws a nuke into a wormhole, and all the bad guys are just like, well, I guess it's time to die. And they just drop dead. Super dumb. Yeah, well, and that brings up a different issue altogether, I think. You've got this thing in movies these days where the climax is, or at least in Marvel movies, it's in the Avengers movies in particular, it's happened both times, uh, where the final battle, the conflict, is basically just a level in a video game. And did you ever play that game, Marvel Ultimate Alliance?
Yeah. You used to play that game.
Yeah, we played it on my Wii, right? We got both of them, and we were playing them. And as a matter of fact, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 did the Civil War storyline. So okay, so those games, you had your squad of 4 characters, and you could build your Avengers or whatever. And every level, you had all these faceless bad guys. Like there were Ultron bots, or there were Doom bots, and all these. You got Chitauri in one level, and all this, and you've got some, like, you got the normal ones, you've got the ones on speeders or whatever, and then you've got the ones on, like, the big ones that are like hulking. That's like, and it was the classic gauntlet style top down RPG, right? And yeah, exactly. And they tend to, in the Avengers movies, they tend to, at the end of the movie, they give us one level from, like it's like the most faithful adaptation of a video game ever. They did it twice. They're adapting that entire game formula into a final scene in the movie. Yeah. And it's not even like you've got your cluster of Avengers and you've got all these faceless bad guys. It's like, we know they're going to beat them. And then in the Avengers 2, they did, to their credit, they did at least have to take them all out. There wasn't like a kill switch, right? And but it was like a hive mind kind of thing. And that was better than the first Avengers movie. The first Avengers movie is completely without excuse. And that movie's praised as one of the greatest movies greatest superhero movies of all time, and it's got the laziest climax. Not to mention the fact what's that doctor's name? He's like, oh, I was mind controlled. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't think for myself and all this. So I built a failsafe into this thing so you can turn off the portal conveniently. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make any sense. And then so that made no sense. And then I guess Thor and Loki fought each other because Thor went toe to toe with the Hulk. Remember that in that movie? Thor and the Hulk fought each other, and Thor was standing his ground. Yeah, there was a scene in like a hangar, in like a airplane hangar or something, and they were fighting, and Thor. Yeah, okay. Later in the movie, this movie is inconsistent. Later in the movie, Thor and Loki are fighting, and Loki is holding his own against Thor. And so you would think, okay, Loki and Thor are basically, pretty close to even when it comes to fighting. Loki's holding his ground. All right. Well, what freaking the Hulk just like tossed him around like a rag doll, like it was nothing. And but Loki was giving Thor a hard time, who gave the Hulk a hard time. That doesn't make any sense. It's inconsistent. Altogether inconsistent. Not to mention the fact that, like, why do we have Loki again? Thor already beat Loki in the first Thor movie.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so we've established that the first Avengers movie is fun, but it's kind of crap. When it comes to writing and all that, like it's lazy. And then they showed us at the end of the movie, they freaking show us Thanos, and it's like, here's a purple guy we're gonna trade the actor out later on, and then he's gonna end up in Luke Cage or something. And um, everybody, yeah, he's gonna play in the Luke Cage show, I think, or Daredevil or something. He's gonna be in the Marvel Universe, the actor. But he's not gonna be Thanos because they traded him out for Josh Brolin. Yeah, yeah. So they show Thanos. Yeah, in the first Avengers movie, and then they changed him out. They traded him out for the other actor. But in that movie, he looked like a freaking video game character. And then turns around and he smiles at the camera, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, I gotta go find out who that guy is. I'm gonna look him up because I have no idea." Because the general public doesn't read comic books. Yep. He's not the same. He's not even the same color. Not to be racist or anything, but Hellboy's bright red. Yeah. When I saw it, my thought was, "Oh man, this is awesome! I can't believe they're finally doing Marvel's Dark Side ripoff." And I'll admit, my first reaction was I kind of thought maybe they were doing Apocalypse somehow, because I didn't have a lot of knowledge at the time of Thanos, and I didn't care about Marvel at all. I know more now. Oh, that would be cool, but I thought they were doing Apocalypse from X-Men. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what I thought. Um, for like 20 minutes until I got home, and I was like, "Who's that purple guy at the end of the movie?" Oh, ah! Um, okay, so that movie, for me, that was I was not impressed. First of all, with the Avengers, the first Avengers movie, and then Iron Man 3 came along, and it was better. For me, I liked Iron Man 3 better than the second one for sure, better than the Avengers. Also, I thought it was better than the Avengers. Again, we've got an army of faceless bad guys at one point in the movie. These fire, um, yeah, well, yeah, extremist soldiers, and um, but you know what? You and I talked about this. We already saw the movie before we went to go see the movie. Marvel put out like 1,000 TV spots, each with different footage. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Uh, and they spoiled the surprise about the Mandarin. You remember that? Hmm. Oh, yeah. So I don't know if they showed it in the trailers and TV spots and everything. But they like the actors were interviewed, and they spoiled it in their interviews. Yeah, they and okay, so then Aldrich Killian, instead of just being Aldrich Killian, uh, turned out to be the Mandarin. So completely ruining the build up that they had in the first movie with the 10 rings. Like the whole reason that he became Iron Man in the first place is because he was kidnapped by the 10 rings, and his buddy there was killed and helped him build the suit, all that. And it was the 10 rings that were doing all that, pulling all the strings. And it's like, okay, you're just gonna abandon that. All right. And then you've got the Mandarin over here that's just a dude with a dragon tattoo on his chest. Okay. Just throw it out the window. Just ruin Iron Man's greatest villain. No big deal. And then you remember? Okay, do you remember Igor, the suit? Oh, I was excited. It's Igor, the bridge holder. And that's another thing. That's another inconsistency in that movie, because if Iron Man blew up all the suits, remember that? He blew up all the suits, and then when he blew up all the suits, he was standing on a thing that was being held up by Igor. Well, if you blow up all the suits, wouldn't that collapse? Also, I don't. He never even got in that suit. That was just a robot. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There was over 40. The Gemini suit. Uh huh. Yeah, that was the that's the Gemini suit. It was white and gray. Well, they had all the rumors. They had all the rumors that that suit was going to be used in the tag at the or the after credit scene, and that he was going to fly out and encounter the Guardians of the Galaxy. No, no, it was the cheesiest, dumbest after credit scene uh, in the whole Marvel universe to that point, in my opinion. Just talking to Bruce Banner. Yeah, and that's another thing. They tricked us because they showed us pictures of Igor, right? And we're like, oh, it's Hulkbuster. And then they said Mark Ruffalo has joined the film, and it's like, oh man, this is going to be great. And it was a misdirect. It was a lie. It was a dirty lie. Yeah. So Iron Man 3, and then what did we get next? Was it Thor 2 or Captain America 2? One of those. That movie was so boring. It was, man, and it had a cool concept and everything. He's fighting dark elves and they're going through the dimensions and everything. But again, it's the same thing that happened in the first one. They spent way too much time on Earth. The movie felt small. It felt really cheesy. It felt like something that you'd see on the Sci-Fi Channel. Yeah. It should feel epic, Lord of the Rings ish. Yeah. Well, for me, mhm. Yeah. The thing is, like for me, Thor, and we can talk about this in a future episode or a future conversation, podcast, whatever. Uh, but for me, I think that the Thor movies, like in the first Thor movie, for instance, he was fighting against the ice giants. Why not have him stranded without his powers uh, in the ice giant world? And he's got to travel across the way, and it's like a gauntlet of 10 trials or something, and he has to prove himself worthy and then fight the ice giants or something. I don't know. And then Loki's there, and it shows that Loki was behind it all. And I don't know, something like that. Like, why not that? Why does he have to go and mac on? Natalie Portman. You with me? Dalton? Hey, man, what happened? Weird. Okay, but you're back. Yeah, I think the first Thor movie, and like I said, we'll talk about this in the future, pitching better Marvel movies, better DC movies. He should have gotten trapped in the Frost Giant world or something, and then had to traverse that whole thing and make his way back to Asgard. And he should have been trapped without his powers. Yeah, I think. I think that having him go through the trials of being there and the Bifrost shut down, so he can't make it back, and there's some other way, and he has to, like, because they mentioned that they were getting in without the Bifrost, remember? So why not have him stranded somewhere in the ice giant world on the brink of death the whole time, and he has to get back through the Bifrost, and for somehow he lost his hammer and his powers. Um, I think that would have been much cooler. No pun intended. Something like that. Yeah, they don't. They're supposed to feel the biggest, and they're just kind of lame. Um, so Thor 2, and then what came after Thor 2? Was it? It wasn't the Hulk. It must have been Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, that movie was the biggest surprise for me, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Out of place. With Guardians of the Galaxy, I thought one of the funniest, I guess, features of that movie was Drax the Destroyer. The fact that he doesn't understand sarcasm to me was extremely entertaining. Uh, and I guess people said that it was Chris Pratt was the funniest, and I heard that a lot, especially when the movie came out. I thought Drax stole it for me. And people, okay, who's your favorite Guardian? Because there seems to be a general consensus on the internet of who the best one is, and I just can't agree with that. Everybody thinks it's Groot. Tree hugging hippies. Okay. I think they were trying to make Rocket Raccoon into that character. Which is now that's all of them. Totally forgettable. Who cares? Um, okay, so after Guardians, I guess it was Age of Ultron, right? You know what? I thought we talked about that one already, but you're right. Winter Soldier came out, and I don't know what order these came. I don't know, but Winter Soldier best Phase 2 movie by far, in my opinion. Yeah, yeah, I agree for sure. Um, and then we had Avengers 2. Same thing as the first one, basically. It was okay. Overall, not as good. That opening scene, though, man, didn't that look like a PlayStation game? I was so worried. When I walked into that movie and I saw the opening scene in the snow, I thought to myself, this looks like a video game. It looks so fake to me. That's cool. Yeah, that's cool and all. It doesn't make any sense why the Avengers got back together then, but they didn't get back together when the president was kidnapped, or which was an Iron Man, not even Captain America, or when Shield took over. When Hydra took over Shield.
Yeah, yeah.
They still haven't addressed it, have they? Right. Yep. Uh huh. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Hanging out with his family, I guess. But that's the thing. That we didn't know he had a family at that point.
And if
Yeah, good point.
you
Right? He's always there. They, they didn't have the money for Don Cheadle. Why the girlfriends have never been in the Avengers movies? Um, or that's well, I guess Pepper was, but that's I mean Jane Foster wasn't. They don't want to pay Natalie Portman, and it comes down to money. That's why Gwyneth Paltrow is not in the movies anymore. They broke up in Civil War because they don't want to pay her.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the real reason. Yeah. So literally, man, they saved her life in the third Iron Man movie for no reason. What a waste. Okay, so after Civil War or after Winter Soldier, and I'm gonna have to cut the conversation short in about 5 minutes. Um, but we finally got the second Avengers movie. In a lot of ways, I thought it was better than the first Avengers movie. Tone was better. Visually, it looked better. I was really disappointed in Ultron. I felt like he wasn't as menacing as he could have been, and I really was hoping for an evolution of that character. Like he comes on the scene and he's like broken and battered. He's not really like the full Ultron. Then he adds to himself. And he's a little stronger, and then he's a little stronger than that, and then stronger than that, until finally he's like this awesome ultra thing. We didn't get that. We got basically two forms. We got first form Raggedy Ann, and then we got Super Ultron. Well, I guess he had the pre-animated form, right? I guess he did have that middle form that looks like the final form, but it doesn't have adamantium, right? Or was it adamantium or vibranium? Yeah, they don't have rights to adamantium. Yeah, I didn't like. Yep. Um, they did include some new characters: Scarlet Witch, Vision, and Quicksilver. Uh, they killed Quicksilver, but that's okay because he's better in the X-Men movies anyway. Way better. Um, after the second Avengers movie, we got yet another origin story with a character who fights his doppelganger, Ant-Man. Happened again. Right? So Ant-Man ends up fighting. Oh, and you know why they chose to use Scott Lang instead of Hank Pym? Because Hank Pym in the comics is so hated. People hate Hank Pym because in one panel in one of the comics, he slapped his wife. But it was an accident. If you read the comics, it was an accident. But so they chose to go with Scott Lang, who, whatever. Paul Rudd's super funny. So for me, he's like Star-Lord. Not Iron. I don't think Iron Man and Star Lord are alike because they're both kind of like dumb but good at what they do, which is stealing, and they're funny and they're charming guys. And then there's a technical genius on the team as well that isn't them. And then Ant-Man fought Lex Luthor, basically, or bad Ant-Man, whatever. Yeah, that's it. Yellow Jacket. What came after Ant-Man? That was it. We haven't had anything else yet. And we're back to Civil War with. Yep. And he's probably going to fight Mordo, right? Or something. Mordo. There's a lot of Barons going around right now. We got Baron Zemo, Baron Mordo, Baron von Strucker. There's a bunch of Barons. Yes. So looks like I'm about out of time, but I think it's been a pretty good conversation. I want to remind all of our viewers and listeners about our awesome partner, our sponsor, audible.com. Dalton, do you like reading books? Do you wish that you could read a book without your eyes? Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah, because guess what, Dalton? I've got great news for you. If you go to audibletrial.com/Robbie, link in the description, you can read any book you want for free without your eyeballs. You can just use your ears because somebody will read it to you. And you can get a 30-day free trial. How cool is that? Yeah, and it's not just you, Dalton. Anybody can do it. Any of our viewers, any of our listeners, anybody can go on there right now and get your free trial started. 30 days, and then it's like $15 a month, and you get these books that you can read with your ears. How cool. So I'm gonna let you go, Dalton, and we'll end the broadcast here because I got some chores to do. See ya. Bye.